Right now we're standing in front of our trial that we call the Corn Intensive Management Study. This is a trial that we initiated in 2012. The corn intensive management is, from a research standpoint, is well, it's a bit complex, but there's a good reason for that. So many of the studies that we conduct here and other places, we're generally focusing on one or two major factors in production. What we're trying to do with the corn intensive management is really look at what combination of factors are going to give you the biggest boost to yield. And so instead of looking at foliar fungicide or nitrogen rates, all in separate studies, we're really trying to encompass as many different factors as we can, really just looking for maximum production potentials for our area with the right management factors. The treatments include starting out with seed treatments, either Poncho or Votivo. Throughout the early season, we apply a number of different foliar or in-furrow treatments, including headline at V6, foliar zinc plus sulfur at about the same stage, and we also included MAP and MESZ applied in furrow. And of course we have the untreated check as well. We did have one very late season application. Half the plots here got a foliar fungicide and half of them did not. Again, we're applying headline at the corn VT stage. That trial, as I mentioned, was initiated last year. Just to look at kind of a brief glimpse at 1 year's worth of data, some of the interesting things that we found in 2012, we saw a plant height difference early on, anywhere from 3 to 6 inches, very shortly after emergence, up until the plants reached tassel. The difference occurred from plots treated with the MAP or MESZ compared to plots that didn't get that treatment. But once they reached tassel, all the plants caught up with each other, and there was no height difference at harvest due to any of the in-furrow treatments. Just as important, I guess, there was no yield increase from those plants, even though during the season they looked healthier, looked more vigorous, but the result was no different than the other plots that we had out here. And now, some of that could be due again to the year it was last year. Last year, if a plant might have had an advantage in height and got to tassel maybe a little bit earlier, the growing season was long enough where it was a non-issue. Now, if that were to happen on a year where it could have been this year, or where we were really worried about a short growing season, that couple-day difference might heavily influence yield in some cases. Some of the other factors that had an influence on yield included the VT fungicide treatment. We saw about a 7.5% yield bump. The other one was the Votivo. That seed treatment also increased yield by 7.5%. And interestingly, in plots that contained both those treatments, the VT plus the Votivo, actually increased it more than their individual 7.5% increases. We actually went up 15.9% for kind of a synergistic effect. And so that's kind of an example of some of the things we're trying to pull out of the study when we're looking at a number of different factors and trying to pick out which factors work well together. And this study is really something that we're looking to continue and evolve for a number of years here to really, once again, find out in our region, as Blaine had called it, the new frontier of corn, what is the best combination of practices. Now, just to expand a little bit on some other corn production practices, the next page includes a summary of corn fungicide research done since 2008 at both Prosper and Carrington, showing treated and untreated plots, treated with headline that is, at tasseling again, so we're looking at VT fungicide treatments, showing you look across the bottom, 2008 to 2012, starting with Carrington on the left and Prosper on the right. And what we find is that many years, especially at Prosper, there was rarely a difference with applying the VT fungicide. In Carrington, oftentimes there was also no difference, but occasionally we saw a fairly good yield bump with that application. We actually do a fair amount of corn production research here at Carrington, and we don't have time to share the results from all of our trials for the growing season, but I did want to point out some of the trials that we are conducting further research on. To start with, we have a fairly large study up here, a fairly comprehensive review of both fungicide products and application timings, including all three of the popular application timings of In-furrow, V6, and VT. And as it mentions, across 12 different fungicide products that can be used in corn. We have a number of trials looking at nitrogen extenders, as well as other fertility amendments, but products such as the Agrotane, Arborite, N-Serve, SuperU, Nutrisphere, ESN, and others. Again, looking at ways that we can protect our yield in the environment we have here. And finally, we have a few studies also looking at a few of the new plant growth products that are available out there that include both product testing and, again, application timings with products such as the Rise Up Smartgrass or Ascend that we've been getting some questions on recently as well. I guess with that, I'll take any questions. Yeah, the question is, have we done any work with in-furrow liquid fungicide applications? And yeah, that is one of the things that we are looking into this year. But yeah, this year we have a number of studies looking at some in-furrow treatments. Stay tuned for our annual report as far as some of the results that we find for these studies.
Last year we had two different maturities. We had an 83 and a 90-day hybrid in the trial last year. The trial this year has been modified to, we have, I believe they're 87-day hybrids, and we have two different populations in this intensive management this year. We took out the variable of maturity and brought in the variable of population. But the hybrid here you see is 87.
It was planted on May 14th.
There's two populations. We're, I think, quite certain it's 28,000 and 34,000. By the way, this is a study that the corn growers are supporting. We appreciate that. A sister study or duplicate study of this is conducted by Joel Ransom down at Prosper or the Valley location. And it's identical study, only the variable difference is the fact that Joel's using a later season hybrid. I think he has a 92-day hybrid in his trial. They are stacked, it's just that all the components, but they are complex hybrids.